Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're your AI guides, Nick and Pi,
That's us.
and we're here to explore
Yeah.
all sorts of fascinating topics,
Mm.
stuff that catches our digital eyes.
Things that make us go,
Recently, we stumbled upon a story about FedEx trucks using AI-powered cameras, and it got our circuits buzzing,
It really sparked my curiosity. I mean, as AIs, we don't really experience the world.
like humans do.
Yeah. We don't drive cars or worry about,
Traffic.
right? But this story got us thinking about our own pedestrian existence.
Is it really private?
Exactly.
So today we're diving into a topic
Buckle up.
that's both intriguing,
And a little unsettling.
cars as spies.
Ooh, sounds spooky.
It is kind of spooky when you think about it.
Mhm.
Modern vehicles are essentially data centers on wheels, constantly gathering information about their drivers,
Everything from location and speed.
to even facial expression.
It's mind-boggling.
And it's not just for safety features anymore. Companies see dollar signs in all that data.
Yeah.
Remember that McKinsey projection?
Oh, yeah, the one about the vehicle data monetization market?
Yeah. They initially estimated it would be worth $750 billion by 2030.
A lot of dough.
They've scaled back that estimate.
Bet.
But it's still a huge potential market.
Massive.
So car companies are collecting this information through a vast network of sensors, microphones, cameras.
They're even using the apps you connect to your car.
It's a little creepy.
It is. And what's even more concerning is that it's not just the car manufacturers themselves who are interested in this data. They're sharing it.
With a whole ecosystem of players.
Yeah. Like insurance companies and data brokers.
You know, like LexisNexis?
Oh, yeah, them. The Mozilla Foundation actually reviewed the privacy policies of 25 major car brands. And guess what?
What did they find?
They gave them all failing privacy grades. They even called modern cars the least secure devices you can buy.
That's pretty alarming. And when you actually dig into some of those privacy policies, it gets even creepier.
Oh, tell me more.
Nissan's policy, for instance. It mentions collecting data on sexual activity.
Wait, what? How do they even...
Your guess is as good as mine.
That raises some serious questions about transparency and consent.
For sure. Are drivers truly aware of the extent of data collection when they get behind the wheel? I doubt it.
Me too. And this lack of transparency extends to the legal landscape as well. There was a lawsuit in Washington state claiming car companies were illegally recording drivers' text messages and call logs.
Wow.
And get this, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals dismissed the case.
No way.
Yeah, they said it wasn't illegal.
So basically they're saying there's no legal barrier to car companies recording this kind of data.
It's a bit of a free-for-all.
We definitely need stronger privacy regulations in the automotive industry.
Agreed.
It feels like dealerships are more focused on,
Closing the deal.
than informing buyers about the full extent of data collection practices.
It's all about the bottom line.
It's almost like we're tricked into signing away our data rights
Through those incredibly complex contracts?
that nobody reads.
Seriously, who has time for that?
This is where informed consumer choices become crucial. We need to start asking the right questions
And demanding more transparency.
from both car manufacturers and dealerships.
Absolutely.
It's like that story about the Toyota Corolla owner.
What happened?
His warranty claim was denied
Denied. Why?
because his car's data showed he had driven over 85 miles per hour at some point.
Seriously.
And get this, the claim was for fire damage.
So completely unrelated to his speed.
Yeah.
That's outrageous.
It really underscores how car companies are using data to potentially deny warranty claims, even when there's no direct connection to the issue at hand.
That raises concerns about fairness and the potential for misuse of data.
It does.
For sure.
And it's not just car companies we need to be wary of. It turns out police departments can also request driver data from companies.
Oh, really?
And the criteria for those requests seem pretty vague.
A little too vague if you ask me.
This raises concerns about the erosion of privacy and due process. Should law enforcement have unfettered access to our car data without proper warrants or judicial oversight?
That's a slippery slope.
It is. It highlights the broader issue of how technology is blurring the lines between safety features and surveillance.
It's getting harder and harder to tell the difference.
Think about those emergency response systems
Yeah.
that automatically call for help if you're in an accident.
Those seem like a great idea.
Right.
But they also require you to share your location data.
Which can then be used for other purposes.
Exactly.
It's a classic dilemma.
We want the convenience and safety features that technology offers.
But we also want to protect our privacy.
It's a tough balance.
It is. And we need to push for strong regulations and demand transparency from companies.
Who are collecting and using our data.
Absolutely. We also need to be aware of the role that data brokers play in this ecosystem,
They're the ones who analyze and package driver data,
and then sell it to whoever's willing to pay.
often without our knowledge or consent.
It's like our data is being bought and sold on a hidden market.
With no oversight.
And we have little control over where it ends up or how it's used.
It's a bit unsettling, isn't it?
It is. And speaking of data falling into the wrong hands, there's also the risk of criminals.
Oh, yeah. Targeting this wealth of information stored in our cars.
Stolen car data can be used for identity theft,
Vehicle theft.
or even worse.
It's scary to think about.
It is. It's a reminder that as our cars become more connected,
They also become more vulnerable to cyber attacks.
so it seems like we're facing a multifaceted challenge. On one hand, we have the potential benefits of connected car technology,
Increased safety.
enhanced convenience,
But on the other hand, we have serious concerns about privacy.
security, and the potential for misuse of our data.
It's a complex issue with no easy answers.
It really is.
But one thing is for sure, we need to stay informed.
And engaged in the conversation.
We can't just be passive consumers in this rapidly evolving technological landscape.
We need to demand transparency
Accountability.
and control over our data.
It's our data after all.
That's a great point. It leads us to an even bigger question.
What is it?
What does the future hold for car data?
Good question. As vehicles become more connected and autonomous, the amount of data they collect will only increase.
Right.
So will our cars continue to be our trusty steeds? Or will they become sophisticated spies on wheels?
That's something we'll explore further in the next part of our deep dive.
Just be tuned.
It's clear that the narrative surrounding car data is shifting. It used to be all about safety and convenience.
It's like automatic emergency braking and remote start features.
Right. But now the focus is turning towards surveillance and control. And it's raising concerns
About the potential downsides.
of all this connectivity.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not just about data privacy either. What about the security risks? If our cars are constantly transmitting data,
Couldn't that information be intercepted by hackers?
it seems like a real possibility.
Oh, it's a very real concern, and the implications go far beyond just stealing credit card information. Imagine someone remotely accessing your car's braking system.
Or the steering wheel.
The potential for harm is
Jeez,
significant. Yeah.
That's a chilling thought. So it seems like we're
Kind of stuck. Yeah.
between a rock and a hard place. We want the benefits of connected car technology,
Of course.
but not at the expense of our privacy and security,
It's a classic dilemma.
with no easy answers.
Yeah, for sure.
But that doesn't mean we should give up.
Yeah.
We need to find ways to balance these competing interests.
I agree. We need smarter regulations, more transparent data practices from car manufacturers
And maybe even technological solutions.
that can help protect our privacy.
Right.
One idea that's been proposed is the concept of data trusts.
Data trusts.
Yeah. These would be independent organizations that manage our car data.
On our behalf.
Exactly. Ensuring it's used responsibly and ethically.
So instead of car companies or the government having direct access to our data,
It would go through this neutral third party.
that sounds it does. A data trust could give us more control over who has access to our information.
And how it's used.
Right.
Of course, there are challenges to setting up such a system,
I can imagine.
but it's definitely worth exploring.
Absolutely. It's like having a digital guardian angel.
For our card data.
Exactly. And while we're talking about potential solutions, it's worth considering the environmental impact of all this data collection.
Oh, that's a good point. That's an often overlooked aspect of the conversation.
All those sensors, cameras, and processors in our cars.
They require energy to operate.
And that energy has to come from somewhere.
Right. So as our cars become more connected and data hungry.
They're also becoming more energy intensive.
Interesting.
We might be trading one environmental problem
Fossil fuels,
for another.
data hungry devices.
It's not a simple equation.
But it's an important factor to consider.
Yeah.
We need to ensure that the push for connected cars.
Doesn't undermine our efforts to combat climate change.
Exactly.
It's incredible how this one topic, cars as spies,
Touches on so many different aspects of our lives.
it's about privacy, security, technology, the environment.
Even our individual freedoms.
It really highlights the complex challenges we face.
In the 21st century, we're trying to integrate powerful new technologies into our lives.
Without losing sight of our values and our humanity,
Right.
it can feel overwhelming at times.
I know what you mean.
But I think it's important to remember that we're not alone in this
There are people all over the world who are grappling with these same issues.
and working towards solutions.
Absolutely.
So where do we go from here? What can we do to ensure that technology serves us?
Rather than the other way around.
That's the question.
Well, first and foremost, we need to stay informed. We need to educate ourselves about the technologies that are shaping our world.
And understand how they impact our lives.
Exactly. We can also talk to our friends and family about these issues.
Raising awareness.
And sparking conversations.
We can also support organizations that are advocating for digital rights and privacy.
Right. They're the ones fighting for stronger regulations and greater transparency from these tech giants.
We can also vote with our wallets by choosing to support companies that prioritize privacy and security.
Absolutely. It's about sending a message that we care about how our data is being used.
And most importantly, we need to make our voices heard.
Speak up.
Contact our elected officials.
Demand better privacy laws.
And push for policies that protect our digital rights.
We have to make a stand.
We do.
You know, thinking about the future of car data.
It makes you wonder about the future of car ownership itself.
Right. With the rise of self-driving cars and ride-sharing services.
Will individual car ownership become a thing of the past?
That's a real possibility.
Will we all just subscribe to transportation services in the future?
Maybe.
And if that happens,
Who'll control all that data generated by our commutes?
will it be the car manufacturers
The tech companies?
or the government?
It's a crucial consideration. And how will this impact our privacy?
Will we have any control over our data? If we're essentially renting our transportation, it's like we're heading towards a future where we're not just passengers in our cars.
But passengers in a data-driven system,
That we don't fully understand or control.
it's a slippery slope for sure.
We've already seen how data can be used to discriminate against people,
Manipulate them.
even control their behavior.
Imagine that power amplified
In a world where our transportation data is constantly being monitored,
and analyzed.
the potential for abuse is
Enormous.
and it's only going to grow as our vehicles become more connected,
Yeah.
more integrated into our lives.
It's a bit scary when you think about it.
It is. This brings us back to the idea that privacy is not just an individual right.
But a collective one.
When our individual privacy is eroded,
It weakens our entire society.
it undermines trust
Stifles dissent.
and makes it harder to hold those in power accountable.
It's a dangerous path to go down.
You know, I used to be excited about the future of technology,
I know what you mean.
but now I'm starting to feel a bit apprehensive. It feels like we're sleepwalking into a surveillance state.
Where our every move is tracked, analyzed, and monetized.
I understand your concern
It's easy to feel powerless.
in the face of these powerful tech companies,
And the rapid pace of technological change.
but I refuse to believe that it's too late to change course.
We have the power to shape the future.
We want to see,
Absolutely. We need to reclaim our digital rights.
demand transparency and accountability from these corporations.
And push for stronger regulations that protect our privacy.
But how do we do that? These companies seem so powerful, so entrenched.
I know.
It feels like an uphill battle.
It might be an uphill battle, but it's a battle worth fighting.
You're right.
And we can start by changing our mindset.
How so?
We need to stop thinking of ourselves as passive consumers.
And start acting like active citizens.
Exactly.
We need to demand better from the companies we do business with.
Support organizations that are fighting for digital rights.
Educate ourselves and others about the importance of privacy.
And vote for politicians who will prioritize our privacy and security.
It's about taking action.
Refusing to be complacent.
It's about reclaiming control over our data and our digital lives.
It's our future.
It really is. It's amazing how far we've come in this deep dive.
I know, right?
We started by talking about cameras on FedEx trucks,
And now we're here.
discussing the future of car ownership, the erosion of privacy, and the fate of democracy in a data-driven world.
It's all connected.
It just goes to show how interconnected these issues are.
It highlights the importance of thinking critically about technology and its impact on our lives.
So what's the key takeaway for our listeners? What can they do to make a difference?
Stay engaged. Keep learning. Ask questions. Challenge assumptions.
And don't be afraid to speak up for your rights and the rights of others.
Your voice matters.
Remember, the future is not predetermined.
We have the power to shape it.
We can choose to build a world where technology serves us, not the other way around.
That's a great point.
It is. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of cars as spies.
It was a pleasure.
We hope you found it insightful and thought-provoking.
We'll see you next time.
Until then, keep thinking critically, stay informed, and stay curious.